like the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Thanks for making us a part of your lunch hour on a Friday afternoon as we come to you from the MRN studios in Concord, North Carolina, joined by Robbie Mays. I'm Tyler Burnett, and this is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires, the greatest NASCAR fantasy show on the interwebs. Probably the only one.
There's a couple,
yeah,
but we're the best. And we're back on video this week. I know you've missed me. I don't know if you've missed
all of this.
Tyler over there, because under all that is a fantasy racing expert. By the way, before we get started,
oh gosh,
I finished 14th.
Yes.
In Michigan.
I probably would have beat you if I set my lineup and didn't forget to.
Oh, but you didn't. You forgot
because if you watched last week's show, we told you the three guys who were going to be the best. And not to brag, they were the best. So
yes.
If you had the 42, the 78, and the 18, you most likely, if you were in a 100-man league, won your league. And if not, you probably finished like Rich, not as good.
No, they were 1, 2, 3 in fantasy points getters last week, obviously, because they led the majority of the laps. And when you have the guys that lead the majority of the laps and finish up there in the top 5, you're going to have a good day. And fortunately for me, I had a good day. We talked about some drivers on Sunday morning on our Facebook Live update from the racetrack. And then we basically, it's been all week. It's been coming down to these three guys, the 78, the 42, and the 18. And, you know, even though their numbers aren't as great at Sonoma as they are probably at Michigan or Pocono 2 weeks ago, you got to start them this week, I think. And we'll talk more about this later on today. And we'll also talk about it with Lee Spencer here in a little bit.
Yeah, those three are pretty good road course racers. You know, Martin Truex Jr. almost won Watkins Glen last year.
Well, he's won at Sonoma before.
Yes, and Kyle Busch, in my opinion, out of the Cup regulars, non-road course acers, you know, if you will, I think he's one of the best road course racers out of the regulars. And then Kyle Larson has been great at road courses as well. So we'll debate that moving forward. But you know, we go from 4 turns, you know, last week in Michigan to 11 turns this week at Sonoma.
We're going up as we go along the last 3 weeks, because we had 3 at Pocono, 4 at Michigan, and 11 this week.
What's next?
Daytona.
So what? That's 2 turns,
4.
essentially. 2 sweeping turns, if you will. Anyway, right? Anyways, so Robbie, thoughts after Michigan?
Kyle Larson is the dominant driver in the sport right now, and it doesn't matter if he's driving stock cars or sprint cars or any kind of sprint car. Kyle Larson is the man as far as racing goes right now.
Coming up on the show today, Lee Spencer from motorsport.com joins us to talk about many of the storylines in NASCAR Nation heading to Sonoma. Also, we'll give you our 3 surprises leaving Michigan. Rango Fowler, again, will join us. He's been rock solid in the fantasy league this year. And then I won't maybe, since we're back on TV, will not get hit by a rock. You never know.
You're going to get hit by a rock.
Most likely. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
I'm Steve Letarte, STP auto expert and former crew chief. I know what it takes to keep engines performing at their best. STP's latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 plus Fuel System Cleaner plus Fuel Stabilizer, delivers 3 times the amount of cleaning agents versus premium gasoline and helps keep fuel fresh during storage. For over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge developing products to help engines run better, longer.
One bottle contains 3 times by weight the amount of cleaning agents compared to 20 gallons of the leading premium gasoline.
When your AC stops blowing cold air, find relief during Murray AC Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. While you may need to eventually have your AC professionally serviced, O'Reilly Auto Parts has special offers on the items you need to bring the cool back now. Everything from AC compressors to refrigerant. Don't miss Murray AC Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
In order to maximize a vehicle's performance and efficiency, the proper adjustments need to be made based on the road ahead. That's true for both race car drivers on the track and for truck drivers hauling freight on the highway. But if your truck's equipped with the Detroit DT12 automated manual transmission with intelligent powertrain management, adjustments are made automatically based on GPS terrain mapping, maximizing performance and efficiency. Don't just want better business solutions, demand them. Learn more at demanddetroit.com.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
Now, back to the Inside Lines dynamic duo. Here's Fat Man and Robbie.
He used to be Fat Man. Now apparently I am.
Not anymore.
And we're back on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. The Cup Series, the Motor Racing Network is off for the Cup Series this week as they're in Sonoma. Our friends at the Performance Racing Network have that. But we are in Iowa for 2 races. Tonight, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series racing the M&M's 200. Is that correct? Presented by Casey's General Store, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Right there.
That's correct, yes. And then tomorrow, the NASCAR Xfinity Series will race the American Ethanol E15 250 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, let's talk about our surprises leaving the Michigan International Speedway. Robbie Mays, 3 surprises. What's your number 1?
I'll let you go first since I'm going to play off of what you have.
All right, so my number 1 surprise, and it's more of a question. All right, is Kyle Larson the greatest outlaw talent, if you will, the greatest driver who can hop into anything and win races since A.J. Foyt, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon? Is he that guy right now? Because, and here's why I'm saying this. Not only has he won the Rolex 24 in the the Grand Am Series, he's also, well, this week has won 3 races total. He's won 2. Well, I guess you could say essentially 4. He won 1 last week as well. He won 3 sprint car races in the last 2 weeks, and he's also won a stock car race in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. So, in my opinion, he's one of the greatest talents we've seen in a long time.
I would agree with that. I think he's multifaceted when it comes to what he can drive. I think he's a guy that has the ability to jump into any car anytime and be able to run up front with it. If he's the greatest of all time, I don't think so, but he's certainly.
I said since A.J. Foyt, Tony Stewart.
Oh. Well, then
since A.J. Foyt.
Then probably, yeah. My number 1 surprise after Michigan kind of plays off of that. His teammate, Jamie McMurray, another strong run on Sunday afternoon, finished 5th at Michigan on Sunday afternoon. 7th in points, 2 top 5s, 9 top 10 finishes this year. When he started off strong at the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, this is cool. I didn't think he was going to be able to continue, and I didn't think he was going to be able to be in contention for wins. Not saying Sunday he could have won the race, but he's run top 10 consistently all season long, so good for you, Jamie. And we're going to a track in a couple weeks at Daytona where he has won before. That's
right, and he's not a bad road courser, so we'll see what Jamie McMurray does. My second surprise is Joey Logano, finally in the top 3. He didn't get to announce that he was having a kid, after winning the race at Michigan. And let's be honest, he probably had a top 10 car, maybe a 10th place car. But some strategy. Him and Todd Gordon finished 3rd, and that's their best finish since winning at Richmond, and by far, that's their first top 5, first top 10 since winning at Richmond, which is unbelievable.
Prove they haven't forgot how to set up race cars or drive race cars. My number 2 surprise is Kyle Busch still hasn't won. And man, he's had opportunities to win. Led a lot of laps at Pocono, didn't win. Led a lot of laps Sunday at Michigan, didn't win. Don't know what's going on. He's going to win a race. We know he is. He always has. But why he can't do it right now, I don't know. I don't know whether it's not having Adam Stevens on the pit box. Maybe the couple of pit calls the last couple of weeks have been questionable, but he still needs to be on your team. He's still going to lead a bunch of laps. He might not get the finish, but he's going to lead a lot of laps.
Yeah, he needs to be on your team this week, in my opinion, and we'll talk about that here in a second.
He's the only repeat winner in the last 10 races at Sonoma.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that. So that's your number 2 surprise.
Yes.
My number 3 surprise goes along the same line, and that's Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick has been the most talented driver we have seen in the past 3 years. Most wins, most speed. Of course, Stewart-Haas Racing went from Chevrolet to Ford, but at the beginning of the year, they came out and dominated Atlanta. You thought, wow, that was a great move by Stewart-Haas Racing to go from Chevrolet to Ford, and then ever since then, they really haven't contended for a win. And I think they're going to win a race before the playoffs, but I don't know I don't know where it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. He's good at road courses. Maybe Sonoma, Watkins Glen is his next step, but Kevin Harvick has not won a race, and that's my 3rd surprise.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised also that he hasn't won yet. Not overly surprised, but a little bit. I think at the beginning of the year, you saw Ford putting in a lot of effort to make sure that Stewart-Haas was up to speed, and now as the season is progressing a little bit, they're trying to catch up with everybody else. Obviously, we've seen Team Penske has been up and down this year. Stewart-Haas has had moments of greatness this year and moments of struggling this year. They'll get their stuff together. It's still a long season and still a long way before we get to the playoffs. at Chicagoland in September. My third surprise is Martin Truex Jr., and it's because he continues to dominate stage racing. He and Cole Pern have figured this thing out. 10 stage wins on the season. They've got 20 playoff points. They have scored 205 stage points, which is the most of anybody by a pretty significant margin. 205 for Truex. Kyle Larson, the next driver, with 193, and then you drop down to Kyle Busch at 150. By the way, all those numbers are on our website, mrn.com. So for me, Martin Truex Jr. is as good as he's been this year as far as stage racing goes. He only has 2 wins, though. So he needs to get more wins.
Scored the second most points, season points last week at Michigan behind Kyle Larson. He did not finish second in the race.
No.
So that's, you look at that. He won 2 stages. It's just unreal. All right, let's talk about who's our must-starts going to Sonoma. I've already mentioned one guy, and that's Kyle Busch. He will be on my fantasy team this week. He is just so good at road courses. For a guy who didn't really grow up racing at road courses, he grew up racing on the short tracks. But he is good at Watkins Glen. He's top 10 in numbers at Watkins Glen. He's top 10 numbers at Sonoma. And I think when you look at road courses, with Sonoma and Watkins Glen, Robbie, and you might agree with me, you might not. See, Daytona and Talladega, you look at their numbers and they're not comparable. Brad Keselowski, he's great at Talladega. He's not all that good at Daytona, though. Sure. He won a race last year at Daytona. If you look at Watkins Glen, you see Kyle Busch, he's good at both. Kurt Busch, he's good at both. Clint Bowyer, he's good at both. They're pretty comparable when you go to road courses.
Yes, and Joey Logano I throw into that same category. Joey Logano has won at Watkins Glen, has never won at Sonoma, but he's got 2 straight top 5 finishes at Sonoma Raceway. So Joey Logano will be a guy to look at this weekend. Definitely. I think Jimmy Johnson might be a guy to look at this weekend. He's got the best 10 race average finish at Sonoma, 7 top 10s over the course of the last 10 races. Also his teammate Casey Kane, not having the greatest of seasons, but he's got 4 straight top 10s at Sonoma. So I think Casey Kane might be somebody, if he shows any speed, any promise in practice over the course of the weekend, he might be somebody to look at. I think you got to look at Kurt Busch.
Yeah.
I think you got to look at a guy that has been strong on road courses in the past and has had an up and down season since he won the Daytona 500. They finally got some things figured out, been running back towards the front the last couple of weeks. There you see it right there. He's got the best driver rating at Sonoma Raceway also at a 107.8. So I think you got to look at Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson. I would stay away from Clint Bowyer right now because they've been struggling the last couple of weeks.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, he is going to be good at Sonoma.
Oh,
well, I
don't think so.
I think Clint Bowyer is a top 3 pick at Sonoma, in my opinion.
I don't think he is, but anyway.
Well, you're wrong. No, I'm just joking. But no, I like Kyle Larson as well. He's been good at road courses. If Casey Kane gets you a top 10, that's a good day, in my opinion, just how bad they're struggling right now. And then, of course, I mentioned Kevin Harvick has been good at road course races. So those are some guys you look at this week. Now the great debate that we always have, and we're going to ask Lee Spencer this question from motorsport.com here in a second, A.J. Allmendinger. A.J. Allmendinger, in my opinion, is the greatest road course talent we have in the sport right now because he turns a car that's 20th to 25th, most likely, would run with anyone else in the car, and changes it to a winning car or potentially a top 5 car, top 10 car. This week, do you start A.J. Allmendinger at Sonoma?
I don't.
No?
No. He's I hate to say it, but he's bitten me a couple of times over the last 2 or 3 years. I've had him on my team at Sonoma the last 3 years, 37th, 37th, and 14th. One of those 37ths was after he started on the pole, and I lost a lot of points that day.
Yep.
So I say no here. Watkins Glen, yes, but not Sonoma.
But the thing with Sonoma for Allmendinger, and we need to go to a break here in a second, they've been unlucky, and most of the deals that have happened at Sonoma have not been his fault.
Sure.
The 2 37th place finishes were parts fails. The 14th place finish was a mistake on pit road.
Yeah.
So and when he started probably 30th and got to 14th in about 4 laps last year. So if we get a caution there, does he have a chance? I personally think Allmendinger will be a top 5 car this weekend, and that's not a top 5 car. That's a top 5 driver this weekend. I think Allmendinger could potentially be a good start.
I think he goes to Sonoma and he puts too much pressure on himself to try to get a win because he knows this is his best chance to get a win. If they just go out there and play it cool all weekend, then they might be a top 5 car, but I'm not starting him this weekend.
Well, the good thing is I played golf with him yesterday, and I asked him, I said, should I start you on my fantasy team? And he said, text me Saturday night, and if he doesn't answer, then don't start him. And if he answers, he's in a better mood, start him. I'll tweet you and tell you if I'm going to start A.J. Allmendinger on Saturday.
Let's go to break.
All right, Lee Spencer is next. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Post.
And I'm Ashley Stremme.
Join us Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Eastern for MRN's Wing Nation on MAV TV.
The biggest and best names in wing sprint car racing join us for in-depth conversations, and we'll have the latest news from the dirt tracks across America.
Plus, we'll send our girl Lauren into the sprint car pits to give you a behind-the-scenes look at sprint car racing, and we'll have your Tweet Your Seat.
MRN's Wing Nation, Saturdays at 9:30 and 12:30 Eastern on MAV TV.
Where will you be when NASCAR comes to Chicago's fastest loop? 4 days of racing, tailgating, camping, and music come to Chicagoland Speedway September 14th through the 17th. Tickets for Sunday Chicagoland 400 are available now. Camping spots are available and selling fast. All kids tickets $25 off adult price and free on certain race days. Get your tickets and campsite now at ChicagolandSpeedway.com. Chicagoland Speedway, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs start here.
Now, where were we? Oh, yes, talking fantasy racing on the Inside Line with Robbie Meigs and Tyler Burnett.
The great debate in the last segment continues as we welcome in Lee Spencer of motorsports.com. Lee, our conversation in the last segment was about A.J. Allmendinger, and for some reason, every time we go road course racing, Allmendinger is always, the talk of the town, and that's, in my opinion, because he turns a 20th to 20th, 5th place car into a top 5 or maybe a winning car. Do you start A.J. Allmendinger this week? I'll go straight up and ask you right now, do you start A.J. Allmendinger at Sonoma?
How do I what? I'm sorry.
Do you start A.J. Allmendinger this week if you have a fantasy team at Sonoma?
A.J. Allmendinger.
Is he on your fantasy team? No?
I don't play fantasy, so you threw me there, Tyler.
If you do.
He was on the top of your list since he buys you beers on the golf course.
Do you think he has a chance to win this weekend? Maybe I should phrase it that way.
I don't think that team is where it needs to be to win this weekend. He may surprise me. I kind of find it odd that people only consider him a threat on road courses. If you look at Martinsville Speedway, which is a very technical track with 2 tight hairpin turns, he's equally good there. I think some of his best finishes, I think he is, more top 5s there than he does at Sonoma. But, that being said, you definitely have to consider him. But, the way he was at Michigan and the way he's complaining about the engines right now, I'm not quite sure that he has the equipment to be where he wants to be able to contend at his hometown track, which is really unfortunate because we know that right now with Marcos Ambrose out of the picture, when it comes to road course racing and that discipline, he really is the standout driver. But whether or not his team is where it needs to be, I think, going to Ernie Cope, he seems very comfortable with Ernie, but the equipment just hasn't been there all season long, which is really unfortunate because he should be able to come out and shine at places like Sonoma, Watkins Glen, and Martinsville.
I almost think he has a better chance to win next week at Daytona than he does at Sonoma this weekend.
No.
Oh, well.
You serious?
I mean, he runs really well at Daytona too, and Daytona is one of those tracks where anything can happen, and it's one of those anomalies. But my gosh, just looking at the kind of season AJ's had this year, it's been miserable. I'm not sure, and you guys know AJ pretty well, and I think I know him pretty well. If I'm Ted Geschecter, I don't give him a 5-year contract because I think AJ is the type of driver that needs incentive, and he doesn't have any because he's fat and happy with a contract. He doesn't have to worry that somebody's going to come in and take his ride away, and I don't think that that's the kind of program that you need for somebody like AJ. I think if you would have dangled the carrot and made it a very high incentive based contract, they would have gotten a lot more out of him, even though the equipment I mean, I can't compare I would say right now they're about a C-level team at best.
I agree with you.
Yep.
I agree with you definitely. Along the lines of road course racers, we see that Billy Johnson is going to run in the Richard Petty Motorsports car this week in the 43. Do you think he can make up, for the speed that they're lacking at a road course? Do you think he's a good enough talent to come in and compete?
I think since clearly this is, Billy Johnson coming in and doing that deal has been pushed by Ford. I think when you saw the press release, and I knew this was coming because I talked to the team on Sunday, and, I understood that they were going to bring in Billy, and I think that this is a Ford deal. This is not a Petty deal. This is a Ford deal. Now, that being said, I really believe they turned a corner this year, and they have slimmed down. They're putting all their emphasis into one car, and I think that they have a car that can be a top 15 car every week. I'm not familiar with their road course program, not sure how, where it's at right now, but I'm kind of baffled by the whole thing, and I think if Ford wasn't pushing to get Billy in there, that Bubba probably could have done an equal job, given how he has run on road courses, given the fact that neither one of these drivers has raced at Sonoma.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. I think Bubba, he's not a bad road course racer, which kind of surprised me.
I think you keep that momentum going because they're very happy with Bubba. And, given the circumstances, given what happened at Pocono, if you take away the penalties, he's a top 15 car. He had his first top 20 at Michigan. If he doesn't get in that, 5-car deal at the end with Danica and Suarez and Kevin Harvick, I think he was running up at 12. I think Bubba can be a top 15 driver in that car on a weekly basis if they get it together.
Agree.
Lee, let's talk about some drivers who have a chance to win Sunday's race. Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., they've been the dominant drivers as far as fantasy goes the last couple of weeks. Of those three, which would you be more inclined to start and why?
Oh, absolutely, Kyle Busch, and I'll tell you why. The fact that he was able to come back with the broken leg and ankle and do what he did 2 years ago tells me that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think it was Tony's race to lose last year, given the sentimentality, giving the fact that they probably put all their emphasis on that to get him into the chase in his final year. I think there was a lot going for Tony, but what Kyle did at Sonoma, first race back, to me, how do you bring a guy who, is just all banged up, busted up, and, having problems with his legs, because they're on the repair. You bring him to a track like Sonoma, and he comes in and wins it. To me, that was one of the most miraculous drives I have ever seen. Someone else that you have to consider, and it's, Clint Boyer has won there. Yeah. Clint Boyer had his butt handed to him, last weekend on that restart and went into the wall. I'm not sure that he fully has his confidence back. He had a very interesting driver coach on the radio, and Tony Stewart. I think Tony Stewart, since he's running Rico's Dirt Classic this weekend for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Calistoga and St. Helena, I think he'll be, up there again, helping Clint as much as he can. And from that standpoint, I think that I think I would put Clint ahead of Larson and Truex this Sunday.
All right, we are running short on time. We could talk to you all day long about storylines heading to Sonoma. Before we let you go, who wins the race this weekend?
Kyle Busch. I think this is finally the weekend that Kyle Busch breaks through. I think that, the arrow's not going to make as much difference here as it does some places, and that's something that the whole Gibbs camp has struggled with this season, and I think this is the weekend that Kyle puts number 3 up on the board. All
right, Lee Spencer from motorsport.com. Let's play golf soon, all right? Have fun in wine country.
Talk to you. Bye.
All right. Lee Spencer, everyone. I think she had some great perspective on what A.J. Allmendinger's thinking right now. Kyle Busch, probably the favorite, I think, going to Sonoma, even though a lot of people are talking about Clint Boyer. But I like the perspective that Lee has always when she comes on this show.
I still say stay away from Clint Boyer this weekend.
No.
I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to prove me wrong on Sunday.
I hope he proves you wrong with you not starting him on your fantasy team, and then he goes out and leads the majority of the laps and wins.
Well, we'll see what happens.
All right. We're going to come back with our final break, and I'll most likely get hit by a rock. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Hey race fans, visit Camping World in Concord for convenient one-stop shopping on outdoor accessories, top brand RVs, and quality service. Buy an RV and enroll in the Good Sam Elite loyalty program, offering incentives valued at over $2,000. Browse over 10,000 Camping World products and accessories in America's largest RV dealer network. Plus, shop the top manufacturers such as Coleman, Keystone, Newmar, Thor Motor Coach, Winnebago, and many more. America's #1 RV dealer has something for everyone. Visit Camping World in Concord today.
See dealer for full offer details and disclaimers.
On Friday, June 30th, the Professional Fighters League makes its debut at the Daytona International Speedway. Admission to the fight is included with your ticket to the Xfinity Series race on Friday night, the Coca-Cola Firecracker 250. The battle in the cage will immediately follow the action on the track. MMA legend John Fitch takes on Brian Foster in the main event of the night. Championship Racing and Championship MMA back-to-back. Kick off your 4th of July weekend at the Daytona International Speedway with the Professional Fighters League.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. I am Robbie Mays. This guy to my right is Tyler Burnett. You ready?
No, this is usually the most embarrassing part of my week.
This is the most embarrassing part of your week.
Yeah, usually. Unless I drop something on my shirt at lunch.
That's saying a lot. Let's do it. Under a rock or Tyler.
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
Tyler and I took a road trip last week to Ohio to see his mom and dad on Saturday night after the Xfinity race, and I asked his mom, are you still cool with us doing this every week? And she said, yeah, so we're going to keep doing it. Okay, so this is a photo of from a TV show, and also the theme song from that TV show.
I'm done.
I need you to name the actors, the TV show, anything, the character
Just
names,
anything about it.
Within reason. So Donald, Daryl, let's cue it up. Let's play Under a Rock or Tyler. Any idea what this TV show is? A movie about this TV show just came out a few months ago.
Wow.
Nothing.
I think I actually know it. It just popped into my head.
Oh.
Is it Baywatch?
No.
It's not? No!
That's not Baywatch.
No! What is it?
No, that's not Baywatch.
What is this show? What is it?
That was residual. That was Friendly Fire. That was a TV show called Chips.
Oh, I have no idea what Chips is.
It went from 1977 to 1983. That was
I have no
idea
what Chips is. No idea.
That was Larry Wilcox.
Couldn't even
and
tell you
Eric
the plot
Estrada.
line. Like, not even be close.
It was about the
plot.
California Highway Patrol. That was my
Who would
childhood
watch
watching
that
show. I love that show.
Who
when
would
I was
watch
growing up.
that? Just
Rango. Rango. Let's go, Rango.
Rango. All right, let's bring the chicken
Come on,
in.
Rango.
It's great to be back.
Great to be. Come back here, you chicken.
I told you this is the most embarrassing part of my week.
It's great to be back.
You know,
Yes,
isn't
I'm
it funny
definitely-
how I was like, oh, I got this. I got it. It just popped into my head. You know, there's a new movie about Baywatch. Maybe they just decided to dress up in cop uniforms.
Where did you see David Hasselhoff in that?
The new one has what is it, Zac Efron in there, right?
Okay, Rango's picks for Sonoma: Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, AJ Allmendinger, Kyle Larson, Michael McDowell. His winner is Kyle Busch, and his car manufacturer is Toyota.
I want to know who's been making these picks because we haven't had video evidence of these chicken picks at all, besides the open. But I mean, like that's a good lineup.
That's a great lineup.
Like I'm gonna probably steal that lineup.
I'm jealous of that lineup.
Except for he doesn't have Kyle Busch, which is a big mistake.
He does. No, he doesn't.
He has him as his winner.
But
anyways, all right, who's your winner? So Rango and Lee both have Kyle Busch.
Okay. I will also pick another yellow car in the field. I'm going 2-2, Joey Logano.
Joey Logano wins this weekend, according to Robbie Mays. All right. I guess I'm going to try to go completely the opposite of you guys. Man, this is tough. This is really tough to go out on a limb here to pick somebody. I'm going to say Kevin Harvick wins at Sonoma. Top 5 average in the last 5 races, 2 top 10s. I think Kevin Harvick gets it done this week at Sonoma. I hope Allmendinger gets it done. The problem is if he wins, he might not make it into the chase.
Well,
where they're at in points. All right, tonight on MRN, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series racing at Iowa, the M&M's 200 presented by Casey's General Store. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. Then tomorrow, the NASCAR Xfinity Series is at Iowa as well, the American Ethanol E15 250. Then tomorrow, don't forget to watch the Sonoma race and set your lineup. Your final thoughts?
Looking forward to Sonoma. Looking forward to Daytona next week. It's a good time of year.
Let's go to the beach next week. We'll talk to you then. This has been the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. We'll talk to you next week as we head to the beginning of NASCAR.
You've been listening to the Inside Line presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.